Hey everybody, and welcome back to another Weather with Sim forecast. And in today's forecast, we are going to be talking about a large storm that's going to be coming to the United States as we get into the end of this week. And this is going to bring a lot of impacts, as not only am I expecting the potential for significant severe weather across a pretty large chunk of the central and eastern United States, but I also think we will be seeing those high winds that aren't produced by thunderstorms, which will more than likely lead to blizzard conditions across the northern plains and upper Midwest. And then I am also expecting the potential for significant flash flooding across those areas that got hit by Helene, as anywhere from 2 to 4 inches of rainfall will be possible, which we will talk about in today's forecast by starting off by going over the SPC outlooks. And you guys can see on day 4, we do have a pretty large enhanced risk for severe weather across southern Illinois, southeast Missouri, northeast Arkansas, back over there into northwest Mississippi, western Tennessee, western Kentucky, and even a little sliver there of southwest Indiana will all be at risk as we get into Friday and perhaps even into Saturday morning, as damaging winds, large hail, and even a few strong tornadoes will all be possible. And there is even the potential we see hatched risks. And if we do see that, that would mean we could be seeing winds greater than hurricane force, and we could even be seeing large hail greater than 2 inches in diameter. And we will be watching all that very closely as we get into Friday, so make sure to be paying attention if you do live in both this orange and as well as this yellow color, which does head as far north as the Twin Cities region, as far down south as Alexandria, as far east as eastern Texas, and as well as far west, or not as far east, I meant to say as far west as eastern Texas, and as far east as Indianapolis, Indiana, which we will need to be watching very closely, as this enhanced risk could also expand as well. And then as we get into Saturday, this is where things start to get a little bit interesting, as we're still going to continue to have that enhanced risk in play across the deep south, back over there into much of Alabama, panhandle of Florida, back over there in the Georgia, and as well as Tennessee. But look at this, guys. The enhanced risk has been extended into parts there of southern Tennessee compared to yesterday, but also the slight risk that you see has even extended all the way up there into northern Ohio, putting more people at risk for significant severe weather. So we will need to be watching Saturday very closely, as it does look to be another big day just around the corner. And then of course on day 6, all that is going to continue eastward, which day 6 still remains uncertain, as we are still hanging about a week out. But I do think the severe weather threat could continue along the east coast, so we will watch it for you guys very closely. So if you do live from the panhandle of Florida all the way up there into New Jersey, including those areas along the I-95 corridor, you guys need to be watching this storm very closely, as I do expect it to continue to bring the potential for severe weather as it comes onto the coastal areas. So make sure to be paying attention if you do live along the east coast too as well. But of course day 6 still remains uncertain, as we are heading about a week out. Let's now go ahead and talk about the severe weather ingredients, looking at both the GFS and the European model. And you guys can see that as we get into the later part of Friday, we will be tracking a pretty large area of around 1,000 joules per kilogram, especially where you see those green colors. And if we compare that to moisture, we will have some pretty good moisture surging on in from the Gulf, which will more than likely bring some pretty good dew points of around 60, maybe even some lower 70-degree dew points across, parts there, the deep south, with 60-degree dew points gain as far north as the lower Ohio Valley, and then of course those 50-degree dew points gain as far north as the upper Midwest, which we will need to be watching very closely, as all that moisture is going to continue to head eastward, just keeping that line of storms alive as we get into Saturday. And then once again, a lot of that could even continue into Sunday as well, which we will need to be watching very closely over the next couple of days. And then the last thing you need for severe weather is of course that wind shear. You guys can see that we are going to have a pretty strong jet look at this. Very, very strong jet stream, likely to roll on through the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and even parts there of the Deep South as we get into both Friday and Saturday, as this will more than likely lead to significant damaging winds, large hail, and perhaps even a few tornadoes, as this is really going to be cranking up pretty good. And of course, like I said, that will even continue across the East Coast as we get into Sunday of next week, which we will need to be watching this jet stream very closely, as it's already looking very strong. Look at that huge dip right there. That is crazy. And then of course that will continue eastward, and we might even have another big severe weather event ongoing after that. But from what we know so far, though, this is really looking like a big storm, so we will need to keep an eye on it as we get into the next couple of days, as I am expecting things to continue to look more and more concerning. And then if we compare that to the European model, actually shows some pretty good CAPE values of around 1,000 joules per kilogram too as well, heading up there into the lower Ohio Valley, and that once again is going to continue to head northward, expanding across the Midwest, upper Midwest, and as well as parts there of the Ohio Valley as we get into Friday, and as well as into Saturday, as we're going to have a lot of energy to work with. And of course that energy even continues along the East Coast. If we look at how this could play out, we are going to be tracking the potential for damaging winds and large hail as we get into Friday, as you can see, especially across parts there of the plains where we are going to have some isolated supercells trying to fire. And then look at that, we see everything explode, and then they eventually start to organize into this big line of storms, potentially considered a derecho, as this will move across Missouri, into Illinois, into Indiana, into Ohio, then into West Virginia. A lot of those storms will even continue across the Deep South, then heading over there towards the East Coast, maybe even another derecho developing along the East Coast. So we will need to be watching this very closely, as this could potentially be a long-lasting line of thunderstorms, guys, from the plains all the way to the Ohio Valley, and with this being anywhere from the Twin Cities region all the way back down there into Texas, this would more than likely be considered a derecho, as it would be traveling greater than 200 miles, and it would also be bringing winds greater than 60 miles per hour, and that's one of the reasons why we are going to be watching this lines of storms very closely. And like I said, I am expecting the potential for even significant tornadoes embedded in this line of storms, and I am also expecting the potential for some very large hail, so now would be a good time to be paying attention, as I do expect this to be really concerning as we get into Saturday and as well as Friday later this week. And then if we look at those wind gusts, you guys can see that those wind gusts will be gusting anywhere from 40 to 50 miles per hour, not only across the northern plains and as well as the northern parts there of the Midwest, but we will also have another round of 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts ongoing across parts there of the Ohio Valley, and that will even continue eastward towards the East Coast. And if you guys are wondering about those blizzard conditions on the backside of that system, Minnesota, Dakotas, even into northern Wisconsin, UP, and Michigan could all experience some pretty good snowfall amounts from the system, as I am expecting northern Minnesota especially to have the highest chance of potentially over a foot of snowfall, leading to some widespread blizzard conditions. So make sure you guys in the upper Midwest and northern plains are paying attention to the system, as like I said, blizzard conditions will be likely due to those 40 and 50 mile per hour wind gusts. So now would be a good time to be paying attention, as I do expect this to also be on the concerning side too as well. Let's also go ahead and look at our total rainfall as well, and you guys can see that our total rainfall is going to be pretty crazy. Look at that. Western North Carolina, maybe up to 4 inches of rainfall in those areas, especially where you see those darker red colors. Down here towards the Deep South, maybe some areas getting as much as 4 inches of rainfall. Over here across Tennessee and Kentucky, which experienced historic flash flooding a couple weeks ago, maybe as high as 4 inches of rainfall too as well. And then of course those areas up there in the Ohio Valley may also see some flooding issues as well. So make sure to be paying attention if you guys do live across the deep south, even parts there of Tennessee, River Valley, and as well as up here in the Ohio Valley, as I am expecting this line of storms to contain a lot of rainfall with it. So make sure to be paying attention, as I do expect this to be concerning as well. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's forecast. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will be live during the weekend for each of these severe weather events. And like I said, I may not be able to be live for all of them, but I will try to be live for some of them. So also consider clicking that notification bell, so that way you guys don't miss out on any future videos or live streams that we do here on this channel. Make sure to also give the video a thumbs up, especially if you find it informative and also you like it a lot. And make sure to also help get the word out to everyone by sharing this with friends, family, or anyone you know on social media. Not only does that help support the channel a lot, but I really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your Tuesday out there, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Thank you all so much for watching, and goodbye.